We are live.
Live.
We have made it.
Finally.
Yes. And you know what? I played the bump, but I didn't have my cable plugged in. See, this is live show stuff, man.
That's what I was waiting for.
I heard it way in the background. I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah, and it's all because Brian made me call him earlier.
Screwed
that
the whole
I had to
thing
unplug
up.
the thing. It's sitting right here.
Well,
all
we
right,
profusely apologize to anybody out there in the YouTube verse that's actually joining us this evening. We had a small technical hang up with Google, but we're doing much better now.
We're working now.
We might be doing much better. Let's not jinx it.
I hope everyone's doing really good in their daily lives, having fantastic holidays. I'm very excited for our second episode. Got a couple of cool things I wanted to point out first. One, for those of you in the Atlanta area, we will be having a developer user group, so check the meetup. It'll be on the 20th of December, and instructions as to where it is will be on our meetup. So feel free to look us up on meetups.com. Yeah. Another really cool thing happened just this evening, I noticed in the Twitterverse, and that was that our very own Ryan Headley has been nominated as Aptus's MVP of the month for Salesforce. Congratulations, Ryan.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Congrats.
That was actually pretty cool. You know, I got to get that email and Eric just, hey, just so you know, we're gonna have you be the December MVP of the month. Here, answer these questions. So, no, that's really cool. It's that's cool. I guess I don't have any other words.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know it was actually going out today though, so my phone just started going off all of a sudden as the retweets and the likes and stuff come out, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh, that must have been today. Great.
Getting a lot of bumps.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I just noticed it right before we decided to broadcast.
Yeah, that's fun.
He's lying. He's been like shaking in his pants all day.
I ran into everybody's office. You know what we're gonna do?
Be able to tell Ryan, congratulations. Ooh, yeah. He was he's so jazzed about it. He's been running around all day.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's very true. Don't listen to BJ. He has no idea what he's talking about. It's very true.
All right, so we got a great night for tonight. We want to start out with some of the history of Apex. Should be a lot of fun. A lot of really cool things I've learned in the last week just reading through all the releases. I apologize.
Yes, you are becoming quite the.
I keep hearing myself.
You are becoming quite the release notes aficionado here. I'm going to have a lot of catch up to do here. I tried today, but consulting, hashtag billable hours, et cetera. I'm going to be a little behind the 8 ball for you. So this is going to be interesting.
Don't you know everything? Aren't you the Salesforce expert?
No, we just convince people that we are.
Right on. I can dig that.
Yeah, he in the chat in our like pre-show chat, he's just like, oh dude, and did you know in 2013 they did this one thing where like, so basically they just had this thing where you could like make notes on another thing and then you can like tag people in it. I was like, dude, what is even the point of this? He's like, oh, it's not really, it's kind of a dry release. That was kind of a dry, but the next one really gets into the meat. I was just like, what are you even talking? The whole chat is just full of BJ yapping about.
Yeah.
The man is excited.
Well, we got to the
No, RJ, I get it. It's cool.
What do you get? I'm wondering what you get.
I'm noticing, however, that the two of us, Brian and myself, we're the Salesforce zealots, right? But we're the ones with the biggest smiles on our faces right now.
It's true.
Yeah, you guys are the Kool-Aid guys. You guys bring the Kool-Aid to the party.
That's right.
And I take a sip of it, and I'm like, eh.
So we also have a great special guest involved for this evening. We can't wait to bring her in so that you guys can all ask her some questions, as well as us. But before that, and before we announce who that special guest is, we'd like to go through some of the notes in the last 28 or so releases of Salesforce, starting back in 2007 with the Winter 08 release.
All righty. Where do you want to start, Brian? Go for it.
Oh, man.
Well, this is the first moment, right? This is the big moment where Apex officially comes out. All right, up to this point, all we've had is the Ajax toolkit. We've done REST and SOAP API calls.
See how excited he
I
is?
got you.
I
Yeah,
am. I'm
he's
so excited.
overwhelmed.
But up until that point, all the developers were dealing with call out limits. You know, some of the same stuff that we're dealing with today.
Yes. all of this,
but in their own way.
Yeah.
Previous to Apex, which was really, you know, it was a tough time in Salesforce.
I am under the impression that it's always been like, oh, here's what you can do. And then some people were like, here's a workaround. Like, let's get around this. And then they bump it up and they're like, well, here's what you can do now. Let's get around that too. So I feel like there's been like a fight. It's like, oh yeah, get this far. Oh, here's all your limits. Okay, well I need more than that. I need more than that. I need more than that.
Of that theory is, right?
What's the apex of that theory?
Once you get so good, Salesforce just consumes you. That's the apex. All right.
But I think the point you're kind of getting to though, it's actually it's true with just about any technology or anytime you give a geek some tool that'll help them do something cool, they're going to push that limit until they're like, hey, you know, great, you gave me that, but now I need to do this. And it needs to grow a little bit more to expand to that. And so that's, you know, that's them responding to what it was they needed. Like first it was what, just to kind of reduce the reliance on people calling into it with other languages or something, right? I can't remember. It was in your notes. It was
Java
8 or something.
Yep. It was somewhere in there with the Java and the C#.
Yeah. And then, so, you know, great. Now we have the ability to actually write our own code on the platform, but you know what? We have all these other limitations. You know, you give us the tools and we're going to build something cool, but then eventually we're going to hit the limit of what those tools can do. And then it's time to innovate again and give us something else and something else. I mean,
yeah. So in here, BJ has, for notes on Apex, BJ put, its original purpose was to help reduce the resource costs of the REST API callouts companies were making through languages like Java and C#. So it's exactly what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
here's
Apex
some tools,
is proprietary.
here's some limits. Get at it. Oh, you don't like those limits anymore? Okay, well let's build something together that can
figure out how to give me that functionality, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's a proprietary language, so Salesforce is the only platform you're going to find it on.
But even though it's proprietary, it's still very much like a Java or a C# in its structure, syntax, pretty much the whole thing, all the way down to the SOQL queries, which are very SQL-like. I mean, they are SQL-based, but there's limits on that as well. But anyway, it's very...
Well, it's like the first thing you tell anybody
it crosses over.
In an interview for a developer is, I know you've never used Salesforce, but Apex is like Java.
Yeah.
It's what everybody says.
Yeah, exactly.
So after 2007, Apex rapidly went through a bunch of changes. That was the Winter 08 releases when it first came out. Spring.08 showed the Force.com IDE. That was the first time we were able to get that plugin for Eclipse. And at this point, even the developer console didn't exist. So you couldn't even go in. And later on, when it finally came into play, all you could do was look at your debug logs. That's the whole purpose of it. It was like the debug system or something.
Really?
I don't want to bore you with the
It's a
technical
debug
term.
system or something.
It was important. I don't remember what it was.
I'm not completely sure what it was.
So
It's a debug system or something.
So in summer 08, we saw the introduction of @test method. So we're actually able now at this point to test our Apex code.
Were there tests before this, though? Were there test classes before this, or was this the very first?
This was the inauguration, the initiation, whatever the word is for it. This is when it came out.
I'm just gonna let those words go.
So this is when we first saw it instantiated. We saw it instantiated.
Like, just keep going.
It was installed.
It was installed. This is when they booted the exe in the server.
But we also saw dynamic Apex and describe information, and those are some of the coolest things to have access to in Apex. Is the ability to build all of our dynamic SOQLs and our dynamic SOSL, which they gave us the ability to do in Winter 09 when we finally have dynamic DML. So the ability to insert, delete, CRUD.
Yeah, your whole CRUD operations.
Right.
So that's good. I mean, that was nice of them to throw that in there. I was just wondering if there were, because all those test limits that you have where you have to have code coverage, I was wondering if that came in.
Those do come in later on.
Well,
I don't know if I noted
I was asking you if that's when tests came in. Because I was wondering if that's at the same point, but I guess you'll get to it later in the documentation when we get to it.
But yeah, so spring 09 didn't really have anything. Summer 09, we finally get our batch Apex, but only in the pilot. So it was all beta at this point, wasn't even released. And as we know, there's always a good chance with safe harbor and forward-looking statements.
With anybody, not just
it might not exist in the next release.
Yeah.
So lucky for us, we still have Batch
Apex. There we go.
Yep.
Batch Pex.
For those of you wondering, I haven't been drinking. I'm just listening to myself.
I think the problem is that maybe we should be drinking while we do this, right? And then just,
System.drunk.
Oh my god.
This is technically our holiday episode, right? I don't think we're coming back again until January, so
that's correct.
I should have made a Tom and Jerry or something. Wore my Santa hat.
So we can move on.
Jerry has peanut butter and jelly in it. It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with alcohol on top. I feel like that's a Tom and Jerry. I really don't know why.
No. Sorry, it might be a northern
in my world, you'd have Jerry ruining Tom's code. That would be the cartoon. Jerry runs up and hits delete.
This isn't even a code thing. This is a drink thing.
I missed that part.
How did you miss that part?
A Tom and Jerry is it's hot water and brandy and this egg and sugar mixture that is frozen or whatever, and then they add the hot water and it's.
We're not talking about the cat and mouse.
No.
I mean, yes, but no. We're talking about a drink.
All right. So while I'm lost,
and you're from Wisconsin, dude. So that's just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
So not much happens over the next couple of releases. Spring 2010, we get the group by clause, which is available in Sockwell, and we have aggregate functions, which are available in Sockwell, which is really cool when you're trying to do, your queries on time or your queries on any sort of math functionality through Sockwell, which, just reduces the amount of heap and the amount of CPU time that you're running because you're not calculating all those yourself.
Basically what you're saying is any of the sums, averages, things like that. Yeah. Just all those great ones for anyone who is not familiar with aggregate functions. Anytime you want to sum all the data in one column, things like that. That's what we're talking about. So it's the first time that came in.
Winter 11, we finally get the is running test method, which was added for the test classes so that we could actually, bypass certain parts of our controller classes.
Yeah.
Spring 11, we've got the @read-only annotation, which allowed us to increase the number of records we're returning from 50,000 to, I think it was 100,000 at that point. Nowadays, you can get 1 million if you write your query correctly. Summer 11.
Is that a hard limit? 1 million?
That's a hard limit. It's a pretty hard limit. Summer 11, we've got the system.url class. And that was still around the time when things like portals were coming out. Communities wasn't there yet, but you knew that they were gearing up towards something. And anybody who's messed with communities and Lightning understand that the URL changes and it can be kind of hard to hack, for lack of a better term. So they've introduced the system.url class in order to pull down the current URL and build off of that domain.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
And the ability to compile Apex classes that belong to a managed package.
Yes.
I use that all the time now. I did not know about that beforehand, but now I use this all the damn time.
Well, and another thing we got was the asynchronous test class execution, which was really cool because could you imagine how long it took to run those synchronously? And now we're actually finally able to just kind of go.
Yeah, when you got those huge orgs that have thousands and thousands of tests, I mean, I can't imagine what that was like.
Oh, totally.
I didn't come on the platform for another 2 years yet. We're at a point where it's still 2 years before I came on the platform. So I am a spoiled brat, apparently, because this stuff would have just I would have never stuck through. I'd have been, screw that. I'm not sticking around.
Well,
Right?
synchronous test would be just, oh man, I wouldn't even know how you would. I bet at that point, all the packages, all the managed packages were probably so tiny in order to kind of combat synchronous test classes, because you're like, oh man, now I have to have code coverage. Oh my God, everything's going super slow. These tests take 4 days to run or whatever for, any significant amount of code. It's probably terrible.
I think I still hear horror stories. People still have a hard time with, the number of tests that they have to run on their org. Just deployments take forever, which is why they introduced that whole quick deploy thing where if you validate ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then now you got quick deploy, so you don't have to run it again and again and again.
That's nice. I don't know if I've ever used that, to be honest with you.
So winter and spring of 2012, or releases, rather, didn't have anything. They didn't even have a section in the release notes for Apex, which I thought was kind of amusing. Summer 12, and this was one of those things that you were talking about, where you're kind of going, this wasn't always here, but JSON parsing in Apex. Nowadays, I use it daily. Every day, it's serialized, unserialized, untyped, deserialized, deserialized, untyped is what I was trying to say. But nowadays, we use it all the time. And I can't imagine it not existing previously. But summer 2012, when we saw that, or the summer 12 release.
Side note on that, everyone that I know that was working on the platform at that time said the parsing was all over the place. So it wasn't even really usable at that point.
And I can see that.
But of course, I mean, it's like first release. Yeah. That's how anything is in first release. You're, oh, man, let's just get this in there. Let's just get this in there. And I'm sure they were up to the same kind of thing. Like, oh, let's just jam it in. Put it out there. Then it's in the release notes. Nobody uses it the first go round. Then you come back to it later on and fix whatever bugs are going on. But it does work excellent now. It's absolutely top of its game for parsing and serializing and doing all that great stuff.
Now, Winter 13, that was a huge release. Okay. And I couldn't even make enough bullet points for how much stuff was actually going on in that release. Okay.
You can do enough hand motions for it, though.
I'm telling you, go back and look at it.
I don't want to go back and look at it.
Okay, well, you all should go out and look at it, because so much happened in Winter 13 that make your job that much easier.
To do it, or unless you're being paid to do it.
Some of those cool things, though, were the ability to do an HTTP call-out mock for your test classes, and that was a huge thing for anybody doing web calls.
Oh, hallelujah.
Another big one that I've used on a ton is the ability to, or is that, am I looking at the wrong one? ID. Oh, sorry, the ID. Yeah, that's it. Man. The ID.getSObject type.
You can't spell, you can't read. What's going on here, man?
So when you're building out your dynamic SOCL or your dynamic SOCL, the ability to understand what object the record that you're viewing is on
is nice.
It's
definitely
without actually having to do a bunch of describe information. So the get SObject type method was huge for me.
I'm glad it was. Was huge. I love that you spelled. We will have to dig deep on this one. DEAP.
These guys are reading their notes, and yes, I recall seeing that little red underline.
Yeah, it's so great. That's amazing. I hope you didn't spell it that way on the slide as well.
I didn't put it on there.
Okay, good.
That means it's not just digging deep. We have to dig deep.
Deep. So yeah, the get SObject type is absolutely fabulous. I use it all the damn time, especially when I'm going over your code trying to figure out what the heck.
We're moving on to Winter 14.
As soon as we start talking VJ's code, next.
No, this doesn't even exist on an account. I'm just kidding.
So on this
VJ doesn't mess up his accounts.
We got the ability to update records based off of their ID, so that you could actually instantiate an object and assign it an ID rather than actually having to query the record in order to update it. So that was really, really cool. Winter 14, we had the elimination of code statement limits. We had the introduction of CPU time limits.
Just throw that in there.
And the ability to query scheduled jobs.
There he is.
Spring 14, we had chatter in Apex. which was everybody's, big Christmas present in spring.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's roll back real quick. What the heck happened on the elimination of code statement limits? Like, what does that even mean? What were the limits on this thing? Was it like, oh yeah, your if statement could have like 3 lines inside of it, or what was the?
It was, in a sense, like that. It was just how much code you could have per Apex class.
Oh, like total. It was a total, like from line 1 to line whatever
Exactly.
number. Like you fit it in here or else.
Exactly. So they finally released that so that we could write 10,000 lines of code in a single class
rather than 10 lines
in a single method, rather than breaking it out.
Not that you should, but
no, not that you should.
Well, it's faster. It's faster if you put it all in one method.
Just gonna. Okay.
You have my permission to use your elbow anytime over there, RJ. Just.
I need like a cane. I need some kind of like knocking stick where I just like whack them. I just whack them over the head with some kind of something heavy, something with some girth.
And I think we scared him because now he's gotten up and walked away.
He ran off. He's over it. He's over the whole thing. He's like, nope, this is done.
Yeah, I'm done. Which I mean, we are getting close to the point where I have to bring in our guest here. So I am going to send our guest a message and let them know to join us here. And if there's time left over, I suppose we can go into the rest we have until they join us anyway. So
yeah, that works.
Yeah.
So chatter in Apex is the last thing he said. New string escape methods for JavaScript and Java. So I don't know how fancy that must have been. People screaming from the rooftops about their new string escape methods. But, yeah, so then we got updates and new methods for Canvas as well as chatter. You guys are into your chatter, man. You guys are all about that chatter, which again, another thing I use all the time. But
because you do.
I just said that.
I know, but I mean, like,
because I do. There's no like, oh, because you.
So
do.
we're almost done.
Do.
Just hold us a couple more seconds. Where did you end? Oh, I wanted to ask you about this, Ryan.
Canvas and the chatter.
Territory 2.
You read.
Do you remember products and when they foobarred that, and so now there's the product 2 object?
I want to say that was before my time, but I remember specifically my first time working with products and going absolutely ape crazy because I was like, what in the heck is this products versus products 2 stuff going on?
Yep. I think they did the same thing with territory object. Is that
so they have a territory 2?
Because they were redoing it, but they couldn't remove territory.
Oh, because everyone had territories.
Right. Yeah. And so now they had to make a whole new territory 2 object. And they did the same thing with products. And I thought that was hilarious.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt right there now, Brian, because we have a very special guest that has just joined us.
Oh, I see that. Who's our special guest today?
Our special guest today is none other than Rachel Roberts. Let's check it out. Yeah, I messed that up. I work with her all the time. Rachel Rogers of Apex and the Limits. I wanted to give you your title, but I don't know your full title, so I started to say BMC, and that's why it came out Rachel Roberts. So, Rachel Rogers.
Hi, Rachel.
The world's longest title. Hi, guys.
Hi. You don't know me. I'm RJ.
It's cool.
Not the biggest fan of Salesforce, so we will become enemies. Maybe, I don't know.
He is too. He's just new.
She's like, what?
He's just new.
She's like, I stabbed you.
So Rachel, I hear
I'm
you're
from the
celebrating a
South.
birthday.
You have to watch out it. What?
I hear you're celebrating a birthday.
We are 1 year old.
That's
on the
right.
14th. 2 days from now.
That's so exciting.
2 days from now.
Maybe. How many times in your life do you get to turn 1? That's a real question there. Not that many.
Yeah.
I think
once you become senile,
Yeah.
have Alzheimer's.
Probably.
Yeah, there's a very small subset of people that probably works with.
Yeah, now you've just offended all the old people. That's great, guys.
Yeah. That we
go way back.
We make no promises as far as working with these guys.
Way back.
So Rachel, what is your official title at BMC? Because I still don't know this, and I know that it's like 4.5 miles long and like the Gettysburg Address, but go ahead and throw it out there for us.
All right. Senior IT Manager, Sales Channel, CPQ, and EBC. And those are
Wow.
all acronyms, right? So if we really spell it out, it's sales channels, configure, price, and quote, and executive briefing center.
Holy
That
smoke.
doesn't fit on a business card. You have to
No,
read
that
it.
That's a long business card. You just got one nice
Yeah,
thin
I'm trying
line.
to go for like the ruler approach.
Just put
And
it all on the
yeah,
12 inches.
exactly. And then, you will either hit somebody with it or you'll never forget me, one of the two. Or maybe you'll do both.
I
I
would
like that
definitely, if I
idea.
had that card, I'd hit BJ with it. Most
You
days.
should. You
Most
should.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you missed some of the fun here. I gave RJ permission to hit BJ because wow, he's going over the top today.
I would also hit you with a car, but not on purpose. So
Not a
Rachel,
car, a card.
a
Oh
Michael,
yeah.
would you hit me with a car? It's like a Michael Scott kind of situation here.
I just saw that episode.
Did you?
I
It's
just
a
saw
great
it.
episode where he just plows over Meredith.
Then he tries to
What
apologize.
Here they go. Here they
All
go.
right, so Rachel, Apex and the Limits, 1 year.
Mhm.
What moment do you look back the most on as a defining moment for you with Apex and the Limits?
So I have a funny moment, first of all, which is your wonderful counterpart, Heedley. When we first started, he hates it when I say that. So you should say it all the time. Call him Heedley.
Heedley.
So when we first started, Ryan and I had this conversation, and I distinctly remember Ryan saying, well, how frequently are we going to do this? And I was like, well, we're going to do it every single month. And he looked at me and he goes, woman, you're crazy. And that is like one of the funniest moments I remember, because I'm like, really crazy? Let's see how that worked out for you. So there's that. But then I think the craziest thing of all, I mean, you can't top Trailhead DX. We get a Twitter notification from Benioff that says you should open the show 2 weeks before the show. And we're like, well, that's funny. Like, that's really going to happen. And then, no joke, people called us up and booked our flights from all over the world and paid for hotels. And I got the presidential suite at Hotel Zeppelin and like black car service, the whole 9 yards. It was insane, to say the least. But it was definitely a defining moment walking out on that stage, opening up for Mark Benioff.
I remember talking to Ryan the night before your performance when I'd flown in, and I said, come on, bro, let's go hang out. And he's like, I'm really busy. I was like, oh, okay. And then the next day he goes, yeah, I couldn't tell you that I was here or why I was here or anything like that. I was like,
Yeah.
no, cool with me. Super excited. You guys did a fantastic job. I think you looked the most amazing, however, at Dreamforce. And I know I mentioned this last week. Brian Kwong and his camera.
Yeah.
But
we do have some good footage from that, by the way. We just
that show was amazing.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun. So much fun. But it wouldn't have and see, that's why I say Trailhead DX is kind of like a defining moment, because that wouldn't have happened had Trailhead DX not happened, right? Had we not gotten the public support, because that's one of the big things, is that we get a good amount of support from Salesforce, but the community support is really what drives the band to be able to get on stage at Dreamforce or participate in Trailhead DX and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that was probably the coolest part for me too. I mean, just having that. I think I was sitting on the couch when that message came in, and I'm like, holy crap. And then sure enough, it's right away, I'm messaging Rachel. I'm like, okay, now what? Now what? Right. And, there we are on stage, and it's surreal walking up the steps of the Warfield and seeing all the messages that have been written on the steps as you go up. And then you're standing there, and then Mark comes in behind us, and you can hear his assistant lean over and say, Mr. Benioff, we're streaming to 346,000 people right now.
And that's when you crap your pants.
That's a large number of people.
Yeah. So
I didn't like how Ryan said you walked up the stairs. I fell up the stairs.
yes,
because they were very narrow, and like Peter was in front of me, and I like literally like almost took him out. It was pretty funny as we were going up to perform.
If anybody's out there in the YouTubeverse that has any questions for Rachel, please feel free to submit them. We'd be happy to get her to answer some of them.
Yeah, if you're actually watching on the YouTube channel, there's a little chat window over to the right or the left. I think it's the right. And you can, if you're logged into YouTube, you have to be signed into your Google account. But if you're logged in, you should be able to fire a question out there. But
Pop it open, fire some questions off.
we like those. But we're not going to wait for them.
Started when we
BJ's got questions. There's
started
no doubt about
Apex
it.
and the Limits, this journey together. How hard was that to kind of get the ball rolling? Was it just a bunch of talk at first, kind of joking around, we should do a band?
So I think it depends on what you're talking about. The public band, the band you actually know today, was launched December 14th of last year. Before that, though, there was a performance at an MVP party where we did cover songs. And that was just kind of a dream that everybody had, that we just wanted a jam session. So it was a group of people that got together and kind of just did a jam session. And I remember, we were trying to do it covert. And so there was a group, the MVP water cooler, and I would post covert messages on there, be like, hey, so my daughter wants to play piano. Does anyone play piano that might be able to help out? And just see if anybody replied, because we need a piano player. Nobody replied. Actually, that's
but Ben fills in.
You guys don't have a piano player?
No, it's Ben.
Well, we kind of sort of. So Brian Kwong had actually replied, but said, "Hey, I don't think I could do it," and so he didn't make the original band. And so now when we play live shows, the big thing is bringing in community members. So this year we brought in Brian and we brought in Ben to kind of help us out. But who knows who will be part of the band next year at Dreamforce?
Gosh.
Maybe we'll get a saxophone player, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Just put it on your Christmas list.
Yeah.
Ask Santa.
Ask Santa. But I want a good one, not like a little
Good saxophone.
one. Yeah.
Not a little plastic one.
No.
So now when
you
you
have to
guys
be
are
real
doing
specific
things-
in my family. Yep.
Bill Clinton. Just go for Bill Clinton.
When you're getting things set up for a show, who typically takes lead?
Oh, come on, that's easy.
So let's talk about how the band was started. Rachel decided.
Yeah.
So it's how most things work. They don't call me Apex just because it's fun. So most of the things we manage, or I manage through Google spreadsheets. I actually got the logo. Ryan actually had quite a field day with that, because he's like, it's so girly.
I don't think I quite use those words, but
today,
Of course you are.
I am. I knew Rachel was going to be on the show. I don't know how I knew, but a little bird told me.
he's got the Apex and Limit shirt on.
One
Nice.
of two.
I was waiting for you to do some stupid dad
Nice.
joke like, "Oh, it was a little bird on a cloud."
Yeah. No, so
That would have been so much.
It didn't
better.
happen though. It didn't happen. I'm really disappointed in your dad joke skills right now.
Rachel very much calls those kind of shots, right? I mean, she's right. We call her Apex for a reason. And it's funny too, because originally when we were tossing names back and forth, my thought was the band itself would be Apex and the community would be the Limits, right? And then it just turned out like, nope, Rachel's Apex. She's got to be Apex. We're all just Limits. And so we started, who's Apex? I'm like, oh, that's Rachel. I'm just a Limit. So yeah, it's a way of passing the buck.
I even got my little one a T-shirt that says Apex's Little Limit.
Oh, that's right.
Nice.
Very good stuff. So yeah, I'd say Rachel probably calls most of the shots there. Mainly because if you ask me to do it, I'm gonna forget everything. We were 2 minutes from going on to stage at Dreamforce, and I had to run all the way back to the green room because I forgot my guitar strap. And
No,
iPad.
no, time out.
Uh-oh.
We used Ben's shoelaces to make his guitar strap work on stage because he forgot all the pieces.
Hey,
Well, yeah, I had to
You
go
just gotta
get the
do.
strap, and I dropped the string on the way through, and, so,
You had to bring 2 strings.
and I
Two.
couldn't even get that.
Like I had the
See why he's
guitar,
not in
please.
charge?
Exactly. That is why I'm not in charge. I just stand up there and look pretty, man. That's all.
You need to try harder.
Who are we missing? We're missing.
I
Mark
love my
Ross.
Ohana.
name them all, please.
Well,
Yeah.
you've got Mark Ross. You've got
Yep.
Peter from
Peter
Australia.
Chalmers.
Chalmers from Australia.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the
That's
four
it?
of us for Apex and the Limits, and then what Ben and Brian called themselves our external objects. Is that what they
That's
are?
right.
Mhm.
Let's not
Yes.
forget some of your number one fans, like Amy Opplinger.
Oh yes.
I know is a
Oh.
diehard fan.
You love
Yes,
kicking the
she
stand.
is. But we
Yes,
still
we love
give
Amy.
her a good amount of crap because she accidentally forgot about our Dreamforce performance and went to a party instead.
Yeah.
How
Hmm.
bad did she get the stick? Did you just beat her?
I'm still bringing it up on live
Still?
cast that will be recorded and played for her viewing pleasure later.
This is
So you go ahead and figure it out.
You getting
We're
it?
still a little bitter about that.
Seems to be. It seems that you guys are.
But I
just-
love Amy. She can make it up to me. She's working
yeah.
on it.
Well, she gave you such a great birthday wish today.
She did give me a great birthday wish. That was cool.
That was a
That's
great
cool.
wish.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It would have been great to have Mark or Peter here. I know Mark's Mondays are really bad. I'm not quite sure what happened with Peter, but yeah.
Okay, so you have to
Asleep?
remember this is how band calls go. No, it's actually daytime in Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
But
Maybe
it's
right in
his
the middle of the
Tuesday
day.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I just talked to Brad.
So
Brad Sherman.
Because we all know who Brad is.
Well, I mean, I was aiming at BK, but yes, Brad Sherman is one of our SEs over here at Map Anything, and he is the only one, as far as I know, outside of our implementation specialist Glenn, that is in Australia. So we have to like kind of sync up with him.
So Peter needs a friend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Brad's a cool dude. Brad is definitely a cool
I
dude.
was going the other way with that one.
With Glenn? Did you say Glenn? I haven't ever hung out with Glenn. I was on one phone call with
I was
him.
gonna say stay away.
maybe we can
No,
have
Brad's great.
Peter hang out with Glenn and test it out.
There we go.
There you go.
Like a buffer.
We'll call it
that
a
idea.
test
Yeah.
class.
A hangout buffer.
Yeah.
No.
There you go.
So then you guys are familiar with the pain. I mean, imagine trying to run a band now with all of your members being in separate parts of either the country or the world, right? So
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely difficult. We have
that's
to
some
kind of
crazy
sync
stuff.
So I imagine you guys are syncing up kind of on the 7, 8, 9 p.m. our
Mhm.
time, our ish time.
Mhm.
How
Eastern
does
time.
practice go?
Yeah, that's
It doesn't.
How do we do that?
We don't.
We really don't.
That's what's really kind of amazing when you look at our live shows. Like literally at Dreamforce, I'm so glad you thought it was amazing because that was the first time we all played instruments together. Was what you heard on stage, that was practice. That was also go live. Like what we do is we have a thing called Soundtrap that we log into, and you can record your individual tracks on that. And then we basically just play that over and over again in practice. I sing in my car to it on the way to and from work to try and get the vocals right. Peter will drum along to it. And that's it. And then when we hit the stage, that's the first time we are physically playing instruments together and we're actually singing together in the whole 9 yards. We
So
do.
dude's just out there drumming solo. He's just
Yeah.
kind of all by himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's
That
had
makes my
neighbors
heart sad.
complain.
Who typically edits the videos? How
I
get
do.
in?
So I do all of the video editing. How do you get in one? It's very simple. You ask.
DJ has a stack of cash that he is willing to drop on Cameo in an
And
Apex
he
in the
does
Limits.
not
Yeah, he
have to
told me
drop
this.
any
I'm
of
just-
it.
Oh man,
All
come
he
on.
has to do is say, "Hey, I want to be in your next video," and we're like, "Okay, we'll make that happen."
You guys are working all the wrong angles here. I was trying to get you guys a little bit of cash, and then I was also going to take a cut.
We're not allowed to take cash, technically.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you guys
The
are
way
all
the
right. I'm going
band-
to take all the cash, and then I'll just buy you guys a bunch of drinks.
All the cash.
I'm
There you
taking
go.
all
See,
your
all
cash,
we can
DJ.
do is work for cost, and cost does include alcohol.
See, there you go.
So-
Perfect.
Oh, I like that.
As long as he buys the
RJ,
drinks,
what
we're
does
good.
that say?
So,
Let's say.
I believe it's
So
addressed to Apex and the Limits.
what's it say?
I'd like to be a hashtag groupie. So let me know if I can help. And then you never let me know.
Oh, nobody let him know. Yeah, that's true.
What?
Oh,
That's
did
true.
we miss you?
He did.
Dude.
I think I can't tell what it is on his stupid giant phone. But basically, it looks like he tweeted at you guys or sent you guys a DM somewhere, saying that he wanted to be your hashtag groupie. And
No.
you guys said no way.
Hashtag biggest fan.
It says on the phone, it said groupie.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
they know what we know. They know
I'm
what I
so
know.
confused.
So am I. I
He's being a
rarely
whiny
know what
baby.
they're talking about. He
He's
has this
being a
inner
big giant
dialogue.
whiny baby.
So,
So you,
Rachel,
I mean, you can totally start a fan club, and then that would make you the number one fan by default.
There
So
you
go for that, and you
Is
can
there
sell
not a-
memberships.
do you guys not have a fan club?
Do it what?
Amy Uplinger.
Do you not have a fan club?
I don't think we have an official fan club.
I don't
You
think so either.
totally- It's not official. It's a fan club, but it's not official. So if you start the official one, you are officially the number one fan.
No, because when you hold a concert and 4 people in the front row are wearing Apex and the Limits shirts, you have a fan club.
Well,
But it's not
so
official.
we have groupies. We call them groupies, right? So we do
Mhm.
hashtag groupies, and people buy T-shirts. We actually have a new shirt that's coming out that we're partnering with the Gift Squad on, and all the proceeds benefit STEM. Yeah,
I
it'll
buy
be
their
coming out
shirts
soon.
too.
Well, there you go. So it's a double
super
whammy.
exciting.
I don't know what that
Yes.
is, but
This is a totally awesome shirt too. Holy
Is
crap.
it
Oh yeah.
Oh,
better than the Contains Love?
oh yeah.
By far, this is my favorite shirt of all
be the
time.
soap opera.
I
So
can't wait.
it's great.
to buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have the groupies, and I mean, people buy shirts. That's cool. People do all sorts of things. I did have a girl once ask me if she could kiss my feet, which was really odd.
That's
That's
definitely a
yeah.
weird request.
But if you're listening, it's perfectly normal.
No, it's still odd. Just so we're clear.
No.
Wonderful.
Not unless she's got a post somewhere
It
on,
happens to
on
everybody.
Craigslist. Got a misconnection.
This is a very common request.
You stage Apex in the Limits. Me feet kissing fan. Like there could be a misconnection out there for it, but I don't think there is.
Somebody spends far too much time in the bowels of Craigslist.
I love Craigslist.
I love.
But I mean, Ryan, you're saying
Yeah, I
you're such
spent
a
a-
big fan, right? Where's my birthday wish song like Amy did?
Yeah, what happened, BJ?
Okay.
He's going to do it right
this
now.
is gonna
Oh
be-
my goodness, this is gonna be epic.
This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
Apparently, it can't even be finished. It's amazing.
So I was super happy. I've been very excited for this moment.
All
He's
right,
been
so
off the walls all day.
so that said, we now hear your official request to be in a video. Rachel, when is our next video coming out? I don't even remember.
January.
January. All right, so
You
you're on the
Yeah.
list, Brian.
video.
It's in January.
Yeah.
You know what else is in January?
No, but I bet you're gonna tell me.
Tahoe Dreamin'.
Oh, which I'm not going
Oh, I was gonna say the Super Bowl.
That's a thing.
I think that's February this year.
Is the Super Bowl in February?
I think it's gonna be. Yeah, I think it's this year. Because I don't think regular season's done until like January 1st.
Hmm.
to. I don't do any kind of sports ball.
Go sports! Yay, team!
Yay, piggers.
Our next episode will also be in January.
Gotta love the oatmeal.
Oh yes, yes.
We will be
Oh.
skipping the 26th, which is 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
We're
I
typically
wonder
gonna be-
why. Hmm.
Right. But we'll be back on January 2nd.
What's on the 26th or the 25th or any of those days? What's going on?
It's Boxing Day.
Oh.
Regifting day.
Regifting Day.
Regifting holiday season.
How many sweaters can I wear, Mom? Infinity. If
The national stand in line and return all those gifts I didn't want anybody to get me in the first place day, so I can get the cash and go buy scotch.
So horrible. So horrible. You know, I'm really big on Christmas. The big thing is that I don't give money. Like,
Right.
I will get you a gift, and I will not give you a return receipt because, yes, I'm that person.
you keep it.
And yeah,
Got
well,
it.
I mean, like for my brother, I'm gonna buy a bottle of bourbon. Really, if he tries to return that, like I should return him.
Amen.
Like,
And
What
no.
if he's just not into
Can
bourbon?
you do that?
am
Yeah,
I
he
on your
usually
Like a
Christmas
phone call to
list.
mom. I don't want this one. Send it back.
Dude, I'm not even gonna
He
lie.
still lives with
I've
my
been trying
mom.
to
so-
return you for a while. I've been like, Ben, can
He wasn't even trying to return you.
can we get a discount?
I just want to know how to
It's
get
like
on
prorated.
Rachel's Christmas list if she's giving away bourbon. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we get on that Christmas list? What kind of bourbon is it? What's going on here? Who are we talking?
So I'm
In an oak barrel for
debating.
56 years.
I'm debating on what we're gonna get. Recently, the additions to my household have been Caribbean Cask Belvini, so not bourbon, but and then stepping up in the McAllen spectrum, getting, a good 10 year, and then moving up from there. What else did we get recently? Got the, have you guys seen the Jack Daniel's Sinatra? The limited run? It doesn't taste like Jack Daniel's at all.
It tastes like Sinatra.
It does, with swagger.
You're just like, yeah, you put on like a fedora or whatever. I don't even know what kind of hat you wore.
You all of a sudden want to listen to jazz music and drink really slowly.
Oh,
Is your daughter going to be watching? Is she watching now?
So,
Is who watching now?
Getting her daughter. I want to know what she's getting her daughter.
For Christmas? Or for Boxing Day?
Are you getting her bourbon?
No.
It may be Texas, but you still can't.
I don't live in Louisiana anymore.
Wisconsin.
I mean, I lived in Louisiana most of my life, but I don't live there anymore. So here on this side of the border, they kind of think that's a negative.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not.
Are
They
you
don't
guys
have
all
to.
in Wisconsin?
No.
I'm from Wisconsin.
He's
RJ's
from
from
Wisconsin,
New
but he's
York.
I'm
currently
definitely not from
New
Wisconsin.
York.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I know, right?
Do you know there's the shirt that has the state of Wisconsin on it, and it says "Drink Wisconsinably."
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm surprised you don't have that.
You haven't seen that shirt?
It's
If you wore a
amazing.
Salesforce or an Apex shirt, you'd have it, but
No, we have a shirt at my house that says I wake up for beer.
That's the thing. So like Wisconsin, it's brandy and beer. Like that nobody else is hard drinking any of the stuff like bourbon and the cool stuff like that. And occasionally you'll find a Scotch drinker, but it's all about the micro brews, the brats, and the brandy old fashions up here. That's no fun.
that's it.
Yeah.
What's not
Yeah.
fun about beer?
Oh, there it is. The Drink Wisconsin logo or thing.
Drink
Yeah.
Wisconsinably.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm surprised you don't own it.
Gonna get one for my daughter.
It was a Christmas present.
It was a Christmas present, honest officer.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, child services. Yeah.
All right.
Well, we got 7:26. We got 4 more minutes. BJ, do you have any more questions for Apex and the Limits or Apex and the Limits?
Do we know when the next time you guys are gonna go on show?
No.
Go.
You mean a live show or tour
the
or
one.
You guys are gonna do on show a little bit down here.
We're gonna do it, y'all.
Jeez, man. Your words are out of
no.
control.
no?
We have no idea. So the thing about the band, most of it's last minute. So it depends on where we get invited. And we haven't gotten invited anywhere yet. So we're not sure. Maybe Southeast Streaming. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening there. But right now, there's nothing. We're just taking a vacay.
What was that?
I said, wherever you see Benioff, there you will see Apex and the Limits.
Well, I want
I
to
assume.
thank Rachel for giving us her time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'll
Anytime.
also thank you as well.
Ryan,
Thank you
have
for
another
like
user
coming
group coming up?
around.
What was that,
What'd you say,
Rachel?
I said thanks for coming around. He was such negative Nancy at the beginning, and I think we
Always.
kind of turned him around. I'm not saying he's pro Salesforce. I just think he doesn't hate me, so that's a good thing.
There was no hate to begin with. I was just assuming, since these two hate me for not loving Salesforce as much as they do, they're always berating me in the chat, and they're like, "Get this guy out of here! Let's kick him out!" And they kick me out, and I try to re-add myself constantly to the chat through the system.debug.
Rachel, this is a tissue of lies. A tissue of lies. We're bringing him up. We're slowly bringing him up to speed.
So, Ryan, do you know when your next user groups for developers?
I know my developer group is next week, Tuesday, at the Lake Mills Library. There will be
Outstanding.
pizza. There won't be beer. We're not allowed to have beer in there, but there will be pizza and boring stuff to drink.
Okay. And once again, the Atlanta developer user group
Pizza's always good.
will be here at Map Anything's building, 10 Glen Lake Parkway,
You can finish that whole address.
Sandy Springs, GA, with a
Or
zip code.
Dunwoody, or just Atlanta.
Nonetheless, it'll be here, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We will also have pizza
Yeah, we will.
and boring drinks.
And better
pizza,
weather.
plenty of boring drinks.
RJ's going to present.
I will be presenting.
Our very own RJ will be presenting.
Only because BJ forced me into it.
It's true.
I was
Will it
not.
be-
Do you have to have 2-letter names to be part of your fan club?
I think they do.
What happened?
It's BJ and RJ.
Well, I just call him BJ. I don't know if you guys call him BJ or any of his friends call him BJ.
I've always just called
I
him
also call
Brian
him
until
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I call him tons of other things that I can't say on a non-explicit podcast.
we've got the beeper. This one
you-
comes with a disclaimer. You may hear some stuff, but when we release the audio, then we got to beep you out. Otherwise, Apple gets mad at us.
What do you call me? I call you
Well,
to your face.
Speaking of beeping out, I want to thank everyone who tuned in and everyone who's going to tune in. We really appreciate it. If there's any topics that we haven't talked about but you want us to talk about, comment below. Let us know. Tweet out at system.debug any information you're looking for.
Yep.
You can follow Ryan at Life with Ryan. You can follow RJ at the infamous RJ. And you can follow me at USBrian28, all on Twitter. And visit our website for downloadable podcasts.
Keep going. You got it. You got this.
And any other information at system.debug.com.
You can do
All
words.
right,
I
and you
do
can
words.
Apex and the Limits Twitter has a Twitter account, and Rachel has a Twitter account. Follow them both.
Mhm.
And
What are they though? What are they?
I don't know them off the top of my head. I just
Pretty
know
sure
if I
at
start to
Apex
type
and the
in
Limits.
Rachel and I start to type in Apex, it comes in. So
Oh, okay, that's good.
we will
At
put
least
them
you
in
get
the
a
video
background.
description. How about that? We'll put them in
All
the
right,
video
yeah,
description.
fair
when we
enough.
got it. All right, so I'm gonna bump us out of here since I didn't get to bump us the first time. Is that cool?
Are you plugged
Absolutely.
in? Are you?
All right.
Are you plugged in?
I think I am. So let's give this a shot.
Give it a shot. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
I can't. You're talking. Oh no, it didn't go.
Oh, it broke. You broke it. It's all because BJ had to call you before.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, take us off air. Thanks, Rachel.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Rachel.